Thanks for tuning in. I'm QX, and I'm going to talk about Terminus Wallet, or Ergo Mobile for Android. This is Terminus for iOS, wallet for Ergo on the Ergo blockchain, and this was created by Mr. Stellfelge. And I wanted to highlight some things in this wallet since the video that's been out previously for about a year. There have been some updates to it that I think are pretty cool that you guys will like. So here's what it looks like on the App Store. Let's get right to it. I'm actually going to run the test flight version simply because it's all clean and I don't have to delete anything else off my wallet. So on launch, we're presented with a few options. As you can see on the bottom of the screen, there's a wallets, a dApps, and a settings option. We're going to go ahead and create a new wallet right off the bat. It gives us a 15-word seed phrase, and as most of you know, I hope, you save this someplace safe, preferably not online. If you have to do that, please make sure it's properly encrypted. Even then, probably a no-no. Make sure it's safe someplace, because without it, you're done. There's nothing you can do to recover any funds as far as that goes. So to make sure you do this, after we hit done up in the upper right, Terminus is going to ask us to make sure that we've actually copied it. So since this is a video and I am not going to take the time to do this, I'm not going to use this wallet, I'm going to take a quick screenshot of this. Hit done. It wants word 2 and word 13. So that is team and silver. So let's team and silver, TAM, and he gives you a little warning there that you got to make sure to do it. So we hit done. It gives us our main public address up top, and we have a couple options here. We can save the password encrypted, so that means that it's app-based and it's specific to the app. Anytime we open the app, we have to type in a password to actually send funds. We have to re-enter it every single time. Some people don't like that. That's fine. So you can save it in your keychain on your phone. I'm going to do that for now. Took my Face ID right there to make sure. Fantastic. So as you can see, we are at showing the price of Erg at the top right now, 131. This should be hopefully a funny video to watch in a couple years with that price. And we have our wallet, which we can do a couple different settings in. We can rename it by hitting that gear up top. We can, let's apply that, back out, and you can see it's now called Test Wallet. If we go back in, we can hit the addresses button and we can derive many addresses. I'm actually not sure what the limit is, but you can derive many addresses from your main address for this wallet. That helps with doing transactions that you don't necessarily want other people to see where funds are coming from or where they're being sent from or that kind of thing. It gives you a little more privacy when receiving funds and that kind of things. You can have it received to a certain address. So that's handy there if you want to enumerate more addresses. We can display a public key right here. I took my Face ID to make sure it was me. This is handy if you want to add like a read-only wallet in Nautilus from here, and you don't feel like copying and doing a seed restore to have a fully functioning wallet in Nautilus. You can just do a read-only in Nautilus with a key like this. And then of course we have the mnemonic right here where it'll actually show you the code if you fail to write it down. I don't recommend using this as a backup source of your mnemonic seed phrase password, but you know, to each his own. I can only warn you enough for that kind of thing. Okay, so that's the basic example of that. Let me show you an example of how absolutely fast this is. And this is going to be using the default nodes. If you watch the node video earlier or later, whenever it's going to be played, there's an option that you can use that in here. But right now I'm going to use the default node just to show you how fast this wallet is on the default node. So we're going to hit the plus in the upper right, and we're going to restore wallet. And let me put on my handy dandy curtain here so you can't see what I'm pasting in. There we go. I've pasted my 15-word seed phrase into an actual wallet that I use for tipping. I'm going to hit done, and I'll get rid of that black box so you don't see it. And we're going to call this my tipper wallet. And we're going to hit done there. So same thing here, save password encrypted or save in keychain. I'm going to save it in the keychain. Boom, done. Before I could even focus my eyes on the wallet, the actual amount came and popped up right there, ready to go. Shows I have 28 tokens. Don't worry, that is not the proper price of the tokens. Must be, I mean, it's a proper price, but liquidity. If you understand liquidity pools, you'll know why that's an inflated amount. So it shows all my tokens here, right here, scrolling through them all quite a bit to pop through. It will show my NFT there. It takes a second to load that through IPFS, of course, because it takes a bit. And then, of course, it shows my recent transactions. You can see where I just got a bunch of greasy sex for the promotion tomorrow on the 26th. All right, so that is essentially the basic wallet functions. If I want to receive something, I hit the receive button. It gives me that address that I can then share to people. I can create a request as well from that. Or if I want to send, of course, I hit send. I paste in the receiver address there. You can do a note if you want to, and I put in the amount there and send it. Okay, now let's look on the back end. Don't want to make this video too long, but here we go. Let's go to dApps. As you can see right off the bat, we have 4 or 5 options here. Let's start with the SigUSD exchange. We have an option to write an app, exchange Erg for SigUSD. And we can't buy right now. If you look, let's go back here. Let's type in 100, give it a second. And because of the reserve amounts, the reserve ratio we cannot buy, but we should be able to sell. Yep, right there, we can sell back to it. So that's dashboard for that immediately. We can do the same with SigRSV if we like, and we can go to the HUSD dashboard, which gives us an option for both and shows us a reserve ratio. And since the reserve ratio is 354, we can't grab any SigUSD from it. So SigUSD is a rare thing at the moment, which is pretty cool. Then we have 2 other things here. I'm going to go to Token Burner. This is for unwanted tokens. It just loaded everything. So it puts it there nicely for you. You can slide it over and then you can burn it and you can prepare it. It gives you a verification because this is forever, folks. And it will burn unwanted tokens. You know, this is handy for like airdrop tests, as you can see there, or like stuff that just clouding up your wallet that maybe somebody sent you a spam or anything like that. That's very handy. And you can change, if you have more than one wallet, you can change back and forth from the 2 or 3 or whatever to do that. All right, the last thing we have here is box consolidation, and this is very important. See, it actually tells me right off the bat, doesn't take very long to ping the API, and see that I have 6 unspent boxes, and the oldest box age is 0 years. And it's not actually 0 years, it's like a month old for most of the boxes here. I do a lot of consolidating. So what that is in short is with the UTXO model, we're dealing with inputs and outputs in unspent transactions. So anything on the active blockchain is an unspent transaction, and those exist in essentially a box. You cannot change what's in a box. In order to change what's in a box, you need to spend that box. So if I have a box with 10 erg in it, and I want to send 5 erg to Quokka, or somebody like that, I make a transaction through the wallet, I send 5 erg to Quokka, that box that had 10 erg in it of mine, 5 of it goes to Quokka, 5 of it goes into a new box in my wallet. So that old box with 10 erg is in the history of the blockchain, but it's no longer an unspent transaction. Now I have 2 unspent transactions. One is a box in CryptoQuokka's wallet. The other is a box of 5 erg in my wallet. So I just turned an unspent transaction, I spent it, and made 2 UTXOs. So that is essentially a box. That box now of 5 erg that's sitting in my wallet, if I don't use that or touch that for up to 4 years, that incurs storage rent. So after 4 years of sitting there and not being spent, miners are essentially, as they process blocks, are able to take a very, very small amount of Ergo storage rent. And the argument for that is that data is not cheap. Data storage is not cheap. So in order to reduce bloat on the actual current state of the UTXO chain, it's encouraged to spend your boxes, consolidate them so that you have 30 erg in one box as opposed to 30 erg in 30 boxes, or partial erg in a bunch of boxes so that you have 150 boxes of 30 erg. And you may say that doesn't happen to me, it's always a couple, but a lot of this is designed so that when people are mining, boxes, deposits of half an erg or 1 erg will start coming. So somebody's wallet may have like 350 boxes and they only have 150 erg because they have a ton of small deposits. And that can really slow and bog down the blockchain. So by creating storage rent, it will collect incentive for miners to mine this and give them a little extra payout, as well as incentivize you to clean up your boxes and create a much smaller active state of the blockchain. So that's what that is. That's very easy to do. We just essentially choose which wallet we want to consolidate, and it's not going to let us because we're fine. And that's it. But it would let you consolidate and send it all to one wallet. But he has us blocked off. That's interesting. Great. Then let's go to settings on the lower right. We have a couple different options here. We have token and NFT settings that actually comes in an active in a activate state, so it's deactive. I've activated it. This tries to verify token authenticity by using token J services. We can do the biometric app lock in the middle here. So let me warn against this. There have been some reports, and I've tested it. So what happens is when you store encrypted keys utilizing biometric lock, it essentially dumps them into this encrypted package. You unlock it with your face, your thumbprint, depending on what phone you have, and it lets it read it, uses it for the app, locks it back up essentially. So what happens if you change your passcode is fine, because it does it right there, writes over that, changes your passcode, it's good. But the trick sometimes is that if you take an intermediate step and you actually disable your thumbprint or your face scan on your iPhone or your Android phone, if you disable it, then you go back to it and re-enable it and reach and change it, or even if you make it the same, that actually wiped that vault. So that vault no longer exists. So some people who have forgotten their seed phrase, or their spending password, anything like that, and they relied on the biometric lock, they've had those steps where they actually remove their biometric scan or their thumbprint, and then they reactivate it again, and it's not there anymore. As soon as you do that, your vault of encrypted things are done. So it's okay that I've noticed to change the password or change the password in the back end, and face scan and thumbprint still work, but as soon as you do that, reactivate face passcode, it's done. So be careful with that if you're going to do that. And the last part is node and API connections. And you'll notice that if you look at the node video that I've made, you can change this. So if you're running your own node and you have access to it from the outside, hang on, let's type this in. Okay, so I'm going to save this. This is my personal node. And let's do a speed test on this and see what happens. It's going to compare my node to everybody else's and my access to it. Hopefully it's still the fastest. If the power didn't go out, it's kind of storming here. Yeah, there we go. So my personal node, which is about 5 miles away from me, is 48 millisecond ping time, and everything else is in multiples above that. So if I'm looking to have things load fast in my wallet and have prices, and not prices, but transactions coming through fast and red, then I have an interest in using my own node for that kind of thing. So that's an advantage there if you run your own node. It makes your wallet a little bit faster, even faster than the initial load of that. That's it for Terminus or Ergo Mobile on Android. It's a fantastic wallet app. I suggest all of you use it if you don't. It supports Ergo Pay, which is also a fantastic framework for just buying things on your phone. So you can buy NFTs right through your phone using this wallet. It's a much safer way, essentially, so that you're actually not exposing your wallet to the dApp or the site that you're using. Let's take Sky Harbor, for example. You are actually just essentially getting a transaction request from Sky Harbor. It pops up in your wallet. You can visually see everything and then you send it. There's no connecting it and that kind of risk where you think, oh my gosh, I'm connecting all my funds to a dApp. Do I trust it? Well, with Ergo Mobile, which is integrated into this wallet, you don't have to do that. It's fantastic. Thanks everybody for watching, and happy birthday, Ergo.